A really interesting and complex topic is the idea of, can a man and a woman be friends, right? Like, this is something that's been debated about since the beginning of our modern culture, and I think it's only going to get more and more prevalent because of the kind of environment that we're in right now, how men and women are very polarized and separated. Like, there's not many situations in which they interact anymore unless you deliberately go out of your way to approach the other gender, or you're just in a friend group that has a lot of connections. You're not going to be interacting much with the other gender. And this brings like a very important question in. Do we actually want to be friends with members of the other gender? Now, of course, everyone's immediate reaction would be, yeah, of course, we want to be friends with as many people as we can. At least most extroverts would say so. But my question for you is this. Why is it that the pretty women in society always have more friends? Like, throughout school, there's more guys that are friends with the pretty girls. Throughout, like, even the real world, the work environment, people are nicer to pretty girls. People are more responsive to them, and they go out of their way to pursue them. And why would that be, right? If this was all about friendships, wouldn't it be more the case of people going after people based on their personalities? This is definitely a telltale sign that men and women overall cannot be friends, because the men are trying to pursue this woman in hopes of achieving that end result, whereas the women of today's day and age that are more on the better looking side, they adapt quickly to the fact that many men are going to try and be friends with them in hopes of one day getting to sleep with them, right? And they can literally manipulate you to the end of time like that. Like, it's basically a cat and a mouse situation right there, where the cat will just keep chasing forever and maybe not even catch the mouse, right? Like, if the girl doesn't feel that way about you from the start, the odds that it will change in the long run are very, very, very slim. So, be very precautious when, like, trying to become friends with girls, because a lot of them know the game and they're wise to the fact that most of their guy friends would sleep with them if given the opportunity, and that's why they keep them around, because that is a very powerful motivator for a guy to simp and overall just do the bidding of that girl, because one day they might get it, right? So here's the thing, right? Most girls choose not even to have guy friends whatsoever, and they only have guy friends that are gay. Now, in this case, I think it's different. I think that if a girl and a guy are friends but one of them is gay, that's a little bit of a different situation, because there's no mutual interest and it's kind of a boundary that is set from the start. And it's not because of, like, their sexuality not matching up, it's because they know for a fact that they're not going to be able to sleep with each other, so no one thinks that they might get something out of it. And in effect, that makes it so there's no expectation set, no room to be disappointed, and no reason for potential fallout. I think that this can be achieved with two straight people. It just has to be well known that there's no chance here. And usually the guy is the one that's going to be put in this place, because guys have lower standards. It's just a fact. Guys are more desperate overall. Girls have guys flooding their DMs on a daily basis. So basically, if you properly set your boundaries, then there might be a chance. But if there is an expectation from the guy that after a certain amount of time the girl will eventually cave in, that is where it will eventually end in some sort of turmoil, because he's not going to get what he wants. He's going to push for it one day, go too far, the girl's gonna cut him off. And this is literally how all my friendships with girls ended. All the straight girlfriends that I had, it all ended like this. It wasn't that many of them, but all of them ended in this fashion where I went too far and I tried to go for it, and they didn't reciprocate, and it's like, okay, it's clear that I want something that I'm not getting, time to cut it off. So I do think that overall girls and guys cannot be friends on like a basic level just because of the innate attraction that exists between them and that uncomfortable situation. Now, of course, that is not to say that if you're friends with a girl, it can't eventually become something more, especially if she has genuine feelings for you. But you have to really be aware of that like situation and not just jump in blind to a sticky scenario that you would usually not want to be a part of. One more thing I briefly want to touch on is the fact that from what I've seen from my experiences, girls really only hang around with guys that they want to sleep with. Like, there's a very low chance that a girl is going to become friends with a guy unless they specifically have an end goal or if they're just trying to use them. That is the stone cold truth. Like, in the case of my college roommate, right? This girl was like super friendly towards him and they were friends for like 3 weeks, but then what do you know? Stuff got intimate like this. So if a girl is really like coming on to you that intensely, there's probably something going on behind the scenes, and you should be aware of that. And of course, there are cases where the guy doesn't want it, and then the friendship ends for that reason. But yeah, basically any hint of attraction from either side can end a friendship, and that is just not really a good situation because it's gonna leave you feeling very like heartbroken for really no good reason other than you were rejected by someone who didn't want you in the first place. And with that being said, my camera's about to die, so I think that is why women and men cannot be friends from the most basic level. There is an inherent flaw in a friendship between a straight woman and a straight man. So if you disagree with me, leave a comment down below because I'd love to hear your thoughts. We might even do like a podcast episode on this specific thing. But yeah guys, thank you for watching and I'll see you all soon.